and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler, and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barri Griffiths. Now today we're joined by Yosef Lee. Hey, Yosef.
Hey, Barry, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited about today's interview. It's going to be a good one, no doubt about that. So, really excited to hear your story and what you've been up to. But before we start, do you want to give people an introduction into who you are and what you've been up to?
Sure. Okay, a little bit of my background is I'm a South Korean immigrant. I came here when I was almost close to 18 years old. So this was a complete new cultural shock, right? With different lifestyle, language, and new people, making new friends. So ever since, it's been about proving myself in the new country, trying to become the better version of myself. Throughout the college, work different part-times, maybe over 10 bars and coffee shops, fish market and restaurant, because I had to also at the same time make some livings myself. So it's been like that, struggling and trying to prove myself, achieved many goals, I think, but also made many mistakes. I paid my price and moved on. Fast forward, now I'm an attorney licensed in 3 different states, New York, New Jersey, and Florida. Made it while I was working full-time, so I'm proud about that, and while going to school at night. And a father of 2 girls, and during night and weekend, I do multifamily investing as my passionate sidekick.
Very Here cool, I am. Man. Yeah, very cool story, man. Very cool story. Out of interest, I know it's not real estate related necessarily, but I'm sure there's a lot of differences, but on a high level, what do you think the biggest difference is between, say, living in South Korea and living in the US? Just so, a lot of us, I've never visited South Korea. It's always interested in me, but I've never been there. Just to give people an idea, what maybe some of the bigger differences there.
Sure. Well, as far as what I could talk about, because it's probably 20 almost 20 years ago, okay. South Korea. Uh-huh. So if I look back, I think the people were more in order. What I mean by that is I think we move more as a group. We try not to raise our hand and try to be different or try to differentiate myself, because I may feel like, I may slow down this group as an entirety. I'll just keep my voice down and just move together, kind of thing. As opposed to that, when I came to the US, everyone was like, it looks like they had their own color, right? They raise their voice about their opinion, more freely exchange their opinions. Sometimes it goes to maybe more towards like a debate type, but in the end, everybody respects each other. In Korea, that happens, but not as much as in the US. I think in terms of between friends, I'll just respect them. I won't raise my voice. Okay, whatever. I think it's cool as well too. So I'll just move on with you together. So that's the big difference I had in the beginning when I just came to the US, and I felt like this is more. Everybody's more free to raise their voice, and have their opinion.
And with you living in New York, right, you kind of have to be able to raise your voice and, be respectful, but be willing to sort of argue your corner, because New York is known for kind of, you know what I mean? You've got to be able to stand your ground, right, in New York, otherwise you're going to get walked over, I guess.
Well, one little episode I want to tell you was that when I was in a painting class, right, I was in college in a painting class. We had I think 2 or 3 people from South Korea. And that day, the teacher told us, you know what, today you could draw whatever you want. Okay, just do it and bring it to me. And then us South Koreans, we were asking each other, what are you going to draw? What are you going to draw? Right? We weren't, because those 2 kids are really good at drawing. Like they will actually draw as if it's like a picture, like photo. But then they were having a hard time deciding as to how to start or what to draw, because they were always like being told to draw this and draw that and that, and then they would draw it really nicely. But so I think that was an episode that could kind of show you how we as a group, each individual didn't really have a voice in the beginning.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love traveling and I love hearing about different cultures. So I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of
I'm sure it's probably different now. It's, new generation, YouTubes and videos, and internet connections everywhere. So
yeah, very cool. Well, thanks for that insight. It's really interesting to hear that. But now you're focused on, obviously you're an attorney, but also multifamily, right? Is that where your real estate career began? Where did real estate fit into all of this? Obviously you're a busy attorney, and I know with 2 kids, I've got 1 kid, but 2 kids keeps you even more busy. Where did real estate fit into all of this?
So, at one point I realized that by nature of my job, I am essentially trading my time for money. And the more money you want to make, the more time you're going to have to spend, right? And then that was like going against the notion of lifestyle that I pursue. So that realization led me to do some research and reading some books. And then finally I came to the conclusion that, you know what? I need to create a passive income stream to win this game. Otherwise, I will be trapped in the rat race for the rest of my life, right? No matter how much money you make. So that's how I started. And then I started vetting some different vehicles like, funds and bonds and, REITs. And then naturally I came to real estate and more so multifamily, because all the benefits that multifamily apartment investing provides is no brainer not to take.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was multifamily, the idea of scaling bigger properties, valued on the NOI, on the cap rate, rather than comparable sales, and the tax benefits, the debt and everything along with that. I guess
as you said, right? Just a couple of points, like this is a basic human needs, right? Alongside with food and clothing, the home, the apartments. So demand is always there. And demographic shiftings, like baby boomers are downsizing, millennials are not buying homes anymore. They want more of amenities and convenient apartment lifestyle. And also you pinpointed cash flow. It's monthly, quarterly, you get that check. Also another benefit I thought about was, every year there's an inflation. Our dollars lose value, and savings interest is how much, like 1 or 2%. I know national inflation rate was like a 2-3% every year. So if you save money in your savings account, your cash loses value every day. So I heard somebody saying cash is trash. So, but national rent growth rate was over that. It's like 3-4%. So it's always hedging against the inflation. And scalability, yes, definitely. And tax benefits, as you mentioned, through cost segregation, yes. So all these benefits were like, multifamily is just making so much sense.
Yeah. And we'd be lucky if inflation is 2 or 3%, right? I think they're saying 5.5 or something.
Now, now this year I think it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. So that's an even bigger reason to invest in real estate. So how did you get started? How did you get your feet wet? Did you do your deal yourself? Did you invest as a limited partner? How did you get started?
So first, I tried to do it in my backyard, New York. Didn't make sense. So I started going further away, New Jersey, Connecticut, still didn't make sense. And I stumbled upon a book called like out-of-state investing, real estate, out-of-state investing or something like that. So by reading the book, I had this idea of, maybe I could just go for even further, not like nearby, because, it's not like, even if I buy something close by, it's not like I'm going to go there every day and 24/7. I'm going to have to hire somebody to manage the property for me. If that's something I need to do, why don't I just go to somewhere that the numbers makes the most sense, right? So I started looking other parts like Tennessee, Missouri. And then while I was doing so, what necessitated was, okay, now I'm looking out of state. I need to find some partners. And that's where I was struggling in the beginning, because how could I trust these people, right? So I was doing more self-education. And in the end, I decided to join this multifamily groups, Jake and Gino, and also I joined MIH Mastermind. So throughout this Mastermind and mentorship platform, my real education started and my real networking started. I met all my partner there, and that's how I got hooked into my first deal through joint venture.
Very interesting. And out of interest, what benefits do you see from coaching and these mastermind groups? People there's a yin and yang, right? Some people think it's great. Some people think it's, I don't know. You don't need coaching. All the information is online, and you can use YouTube, university, and all that to get it. What benefits did you get, and what did you get out of it? You think that you wouldn't have gone out had you not joined those groups?
That's funny what you said, because that's exactly what happened to me when I was trying to join this mastermind. I was asking many people, and probably 70 or 80% of the people were saying, don't do it, because what you're going to learn is out there for free anyway. You could do it through like a $10 books or YouTube video podcast. Why are you trying to spend, 20 grand, 30 grand there? Why don't you just use that for your down payment? Right. I said, oh, this guy has a point. Right. And then I was also talking to the rest 20% of people. They said, you know what, Yosef, join the group. You're going to meet amazing people. They're going to expedite your game, and you will learn their wisdom and knowledge. And right. So I was just comparing these two, but in the end, I decided to join based on two reasons. One, by the time I already decided to invest in multifamily. So I'm not doing single family or duplex. So 20, 30 grand as a down payment would not going to be do much for $2 million, $3 million multifamily, right? So that was first thing. And second, the people that were making things happen, right? The people who were closing the deals are from the 20% group, not from this 80% group. So I was a no-brainer, huh? But these people are, closing the big multifamily deals, not you guys. So I joined, and by joining, thereafter looking back, the benefits I got was not only education it was given, it's coming, but more with step-by-step structured guidance, as opposed to your just juggling around here and there and jumpy here and there. So that's good. But not only that, it's the network that comes with the education as well, with the group, the exclusive group and support, and that trust level that just because you join the group, it shows to other people that you're financially committed. That means you're serious, right? You're not just the one who's joining the free network or Facebook group, and we just say, oh, let's be partners sometime, right? It's not like that. You actually made a serious commitment. So through that, I had already some level of trust with them. So the partnership organically, I think, happened more easily and more seriously.
Yeah, I think you bring us so many great points there. For one is, be careful who you take advice from, right? Everyone means well when they give you advice, but be careful who you take advice from, right? If you're a professional golfer, are you going to take advice from a guy who shoots 100 plus on his round, or are you going to take advice from someone who's maybe been there, done that, or has been studying golf his whole life, right? You've got to pick and choose who you take advice from, and be careful who you let into your brain. And I think that's such a good example there, where you said that it was the 20%, but these 20%, even though they were the smaller group, they were the ones that doing the deals. They were the successful people. They had the right mindset. They had the right results. And you've got to be careful sometimes, I think, with real estate, who you listen to, because there's plenty of naysayers and people say you can't do this or you shouldn't do that or blah, blah, blah. But be careful, you've got to protect your mind, I think, a lot of times. So I think that's a really good point you pick up. And like you said, with a lot of with these coaching programs, these mentor programs, yes, the education is cool, but more than the education is like you said, the networking, the groups, the people that you meet, the access to these people that you have that you wouldn't have. And I think that value alone is right. Is worth joining.
Exactly. And you can, like I said, I wanted to focus on what they said, that 80% were focusing on the money that you're going to be spent, and it's free. But the language that this 20% group, if you think about it, the relationship, you're going to be meet amazing people. It's going to expedite your journey. You see, the focus is a little different there too.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So then you, so from there, did you own any real estate at all at that point? Maybe your own primary residence, or do you just dive into multifamily and buy that as the first property?
I dive into a multifamily. I didn't really own any investment property, not even single, never done any flipping, not even duplex or anything. So this was legit my very first deal as a multifamily.
Awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. And I think that's that's cool to hear as well, because a lot of people think that you have to start with single family. Maybe you have to start flipping and then doing a rental and then get to multifamily. But I really don't think that's the case. It depends on you as a person, right? Everyone has a different story, different way of seeing stuff, different way of working, different way of getting there. But it's cool to hear that you started with multifamily, and that can be done. And I think it's a cool story for people to hear.
Absolutely.
To go that way, and I think you've done a lot of stuff. You educated yourself. You built a group around you. You joined these mastermind and this coaching program that helped a lot. But it can be done. So I think that's a cool story. What we're going to talk about, so don't go too deep, but your first property, just give us a high level, because on the second part of this interview, we're going to really dive into that property and hear the numbers and how you did it and how you had success with that property. But just on a high level, give us an idea about the first property that you bought.
Sure. The first property we closed was a 44-unit apartment in Kansas City, Kansas side. Vintage was 1963 apartment. So it's a C class. It's some deferred maintenance. 43 unit. We bought. Their asking price was, I think, 1.8 something, and then which was okay with that price. Still, it was good cash flowing. So we got that under contract. We started doing due diligence, and throughout due diligence, we found that the property was really old. So the roof were really old. The HVAC system was old. So we came back and we didn't want to retrade, but we showed the seller the pictures and how old it was. So we wanted the seller to fix it before closing, and we'll replace the roof. And the seller came back saying, you know what, we don't want to fix it. How about we give you some credits? So my partner, without knowing how much it cost, we just called, we want $100,000 credit. So the seller actually okayed to it. So when we bought it 1.7 something, like exactly $100,000 lower than the contract price. And then later we fixed it. We actually recently finished fixing all the roof, 3 roofs. So it's 6 buildings. So we fixed all 6 roofs. It costed about 60 something. So we actually needed more, like $30,000 by that.
Oh, nice. So you made profit on that. That's cool.
We made a profit on that. Yes.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, well, like I said, in the second part of this interview, we'll dive into that and get all that great stuff from that and hear all that story about the good stuff. But so you had that first one, worked out pretty good. It seems like you still have it to this day. Well, out of interest, what made you guys choose Kansas City? Because you're in New York. What made you choose Kansas City, and what was it about that area that you liked?
So myself, in the beginning, actually, my market was Tennessee. I was looking into network with people from Tennessee and trying to find deals in Tennessee. But in my case, through joining Jake and Gino, the market actually came to me with my partner. So I partnered up with my boots on the ground partner, and he brought Kansas City market to me because he lives there. He said, "Hey, Yosef, are you interested in looking into Kansas City market with me?" And I didn't know about Kansas City market at all before, but he brought it to me. So I liked him. So we started looking at the deals together, and actually the numbers were pretty good. And the demographics and population is growing, jobs coming. So, this is a great market. And that's how it started. And then from there, we asked another guy who joined our group. So he came in, and then he also liked the market. So 3 of us as a main partners, we started looking deals together.
Very cool. Very cool. So then what was your second property?
So second property we closed in March of this year was also in Kansas, a town called Wichita. So that one came from a listing, I think, brokerage firm that we had, one of our partners had a relationship with. So it was also seller direct with the listing agent. So we didn't really have any other competition there. That's a 68-unit apartment, more newer, as a B, I'll say B plus class with nice area. Median income is almost 70,000. And nearby high school and shopping malls. It's a great location. Price was obviously a little more expensive, over $4 million. But this one we did syndication. So 44 unit we did joint venture. So, but this 60 unit we did syndication, and it took 9 months to close. Funny thing, we actually got the 16-year property under contract before even having this 44 unit.
Wow.
The 44 unit just took 2 months to close. Like we got it on the contract, I think in October, and then we closed in December. But this 68 unit property, we got in the contract in either August or September, and then we closed in March. Yeah, because this was a lot. There was some twists, like, okay, the lenders were assuming the agency debt. And at one point, our occupancy rate was, a little going down, and lender had a concern. So we had to wait more to push the occupancy rate back up by having more tenants and things like that. But it was always on over 90%, but it was touching the 90%. So that's where the lender had a concern. So we had to extend our due diligence and another extension just to make sure property is being run well, and to show the lender that this is over 90%, even 95%. Later it came back to it, so we were able to close.
Interesting. Yeah, because agency debt, they require 90% occupancy, 90% above for 90 days?
At least 90 days.
Yeah, last 90 days, for them to qualify for agency. And agency is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, you get debt from them. So, but 9 months in total it took to close.
Yeah, it's 9 months.
Wow, that must have been a painful process then, I guess.
Indeed, that was without the first deal, where we were able to celebrate the deal. We would have been a lot tougher, like, when it's going to be closed. But yeah, we made it. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, very cool. And it sounds like a good deal as well. And then from there, where did you go from there? What was the next property from there?
So from that point on, I joined. So my mentor from Mastermind group, he actually offered me a part-time position in his company. So he knows that I'm doing full-time attorney. So he said, you know what, just come join my company. You could work at night and weekends, and that's fine. So I'm getting more flexibility there. And I joined as due diligence and investor relationship and capital raising side. And then I started learning how to raise capital from him. And I'm still learning too, but I'm helping him out with that. Now, through that company, we actually raised capital for another syndication team. And then with that team, we closed 64 unit in Missouri in April, and 36 unit in Columbus, Ohio in May. And in June, we closed another 72 unit in another property in Missouri. And we have 130 unit under contract in Oklahoma City now.
Wow. Okay. You guys aren't messing around, huh? You guys are getting after
We're not messing around. We're taking down that.
That's awesome. Out of interest, and there's a lot that goes into raising capital, but, what are some high level stuff that you're being taught that, in terms of raising capital that, you've been working on and that's helped you?
So in terms of what I'm learning about capital raising is, you don't wait for the deal to come to raise a capital. You gotta start now nurturing your potential investors without even having a deal, because just because you bring a deal, they're not going to jump and invest. They're human. We're being very skeptical sometimes, and syndication is sometimes not an easy concept to digest, right? Especially me and my people from New York, we're very skeptical. we don't really trust a lot. So that's where I think the education comes into play. You need to educate your potential investors even before having any deal. Let them know what a syndication is, and bring the potential investors to maybe your mentor or someone who is more experienced in syndication. And sometimes it's also a good idea to let them invest into their deal as a limited partners. I meet a lot of people who wants to keep their potential investors under his wing, even if he doesn't have any deal. What happened to me was, actually a friend of mine asked me about the apartment deal and he had some money. I let him just wait too long. He was kind of turned off and he was looking into stocks and other things. So then I realized, you know what, I need to keep them warmed up and pumped up. So in reality, what I tried later on was to actually have him invest into another deal of one of in the syndicators I knew, so that he could be pumped up and he could talk about the deal to his other friends. When I'm ready with my own deal, he could probably bring that investors to me, because he's already getting the cash flow. and enjoying it, right? I mean, obviously it's my job to introduce him to a better deal, like good deals and good trustworthy syndicators. But that's where this network comes into play, Mastermind and a mentorship program, because you are connected to other seasoned syndicators there.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point as well, is that, like you said, if you have someone interested, you need to have that abundance mindset, right? Not like, hey, I need to keep this for myself. I need to have this guy just invest in my deal. Because if he invests in another deal and you trust him, you trust this group that he's investing with and it's a success, he's going to tell his friends, he's going to be advertising, and he's going to want to do more as well, right? And then when you have a deal, this guy is ready. Like you said, you've got to keep them pumped, got to keep them warm, got to keep them ready, because otherwise they'll find someone else, so they'll put their money somewhere else. And I think that's such an interesting, good point that you bring up.
And that's another way to develop the relationship with the general partners in the deal, right? And then maybe next time you can probably ask them, actually, can I raise a capital for your next deal and then get some GP share from you, right? And now without having even your deal, there's a chance that there's an opportunity for you to raise the money for the syndicator and get a GP share from that.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Well, man, it's a really interesting story that you have, obviously, having the success you had, and you're just, you're firing away right now, right? It's going, doing all these deals and scaling up is really cool. And it'd be exciting to see what's next for you, right? I think this is kind of the tip of the iceberg, right? There's a lot more to come, I'm sure. So
I hope so.
That's very cool. But are you ready for the knockout round?
The knockout round, yes.
Yes, cool. Well, so the first question is, what would your wrestling name be?
My wrestling name. So I want to come up with something that gives a strong touch. So I'm thinking probably Unstoppable Brosef.
Oh, I like that, Brosef. Yeah, Unstoppable Brosef. I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, because people started calling me Yosef. My Brosef started from my mentor. He always calls me that way. So now everybody calls me Brosef.
I like that a lot. Every wrestler has a special move. What is your special move in real estate?
Okay, so among the skill sets, I would say my signature move can be legal due diligence, right? I review PPMs and operating agreements. I could probably draft simple legal documents myself without going through other attorneys. I could make it easier for my team to understand. That's actually what I did for the syndication, the 68-unit deal. I was becoming a point person among the attorneys. So we had a SEC attorney, lender's attorney, our buyer's attorney, seller's attorney, myself. I was just being in the middle person as a messenger, digest all the legalese and then deliver in an easier way for my team members, right? So that will be my strongest point. And networking is another my strong point. I am no hesitant going out, reaching out people and talk to them and get network done. So that's my strongest point, I'll say.
Very cool. What's been the biggest body slam you've taken?
Body slam. I guess there's this before 43 appointment close. We had this first deal. It almost under contract, so we were kind of happy and waiting for seller's response, because seller asked us to just start drafting the contract without even submitting the LOI, right? So we were very happy. He was like, let's skip the LOI, just submit the contract. So we hired an attorney. So we submitted our contract, our version of contract. And the seller ended up using that to get another bid with that price and the contract. And he came back saying, we decided not to go with you. So we lost the attorney fee, even if it was not a lot of money, but still as a first deal that was almost close to a contract, I was really disappointed.
Yeah, because but
other than that, everything was just kind of moving smoothly from my end.
Yeah, because I guess you not only did lose the money, you lost the deal as well. So it was like a bit of a double whammy. So that sucks.
Yes. And yeah, I don't know. I think the thing just happened.
Yeah, exactly. So was there a moment that you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were too scared? What was it and how did you overcome it?
I'll say just in general, pulling the trigger to go into multifamily. The initial idea of going into a big multi was pretty scary. skipping that single or duplex small multis, and also at the same time having my full-time job, right? How I was overcoming that. I was able to crush all these limiting beliefs, right? I had no way I can invest outside of my backyard. How can I trust others? And I'm gonna start small. So basically educating myself with right strategy, right? And also not listening to all the naysayers saying you can't do this or that's unheard of. And instead just surrounding myself with highly motivated, like-minded investors by joining mastermind groups, right? Being connected to the right people, finding good partners, just taking the actions, going persistently, and trying to add value to the teams. Yeah, all this in the entirety as a combination, it helped me to overcome that fear.
That's great. That's great. Well, Yosef, thank you so much, man, for sharing your story and all the successes that you've had. Excited for this second part where we can dive into that first deal. Sounds like a really interesting deal, and excited to hear all about that. Before we go, if people want to reach out to you, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
I'm very active on social media, so you can actually type either LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, Yosef Your Grosef, YOSEF, YOURGROSEF. You'll find me in one of them.
Perfect. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Yosef. I'm excited about part 2.
Thank you very much, Barry. I enjoyed it.